Robert F. Kennedy Jr. isn't the only member of his family who is still making headlines. He also has 6 children who have grown up to be stunning and fascinating individuals. Born in 1994, Conor Kennedy has mostly kept a low profile over the years, but he did have one short-lived romance that was anything but under the radar. As reported by Us Weekly back in 2011, Taylor Swift became infatuated with the Kennedy family after watching the miniseries about them that aired that year. The pop star then began doing extensive research on Kennedy history. Word about Swift's interest made its way to Rory Kennedy, a documentary filmmaker and youngest sister of RFK Jr. Rory then reached out to see if she could get her hands on some concert tickets, and she and Swift became quick friends, with Rory even inviting the singer to spend the 4th of July at the Kennedy compound, which is where she met Conor. By July 2012, Swift and Conor were photographed together in Hyannisport, Massachusetts. They were frequently spotted in town throughout the rest of that month and even showed off some public displays of affection. According to Us Weekly, they were officially dating by August, after which Swift purchased a home near the Kennedy compound in Hyannisport. Ultimately, though, Swift and Conor's romance fizzled out by the fall. But there seems to be at least one song that was inspired by their time together, as many fans believe that Swift's Begin Again off her 2012 album Red is about moving on with Conor in the wake of her split from Jake Gyllenhaal.
I don't talk about my personal life in that great detail. I write about it all in my songs.
In 2013, Conor Kennedy was arrested during a protest outside of the White House in opposition to the Keystone Pipeline. He was joined on the front lines by his father, as well as actor Daryl Hannah and other environmental activists. The protest was reportedly organized as an effort to make others aware that the pipeline could increase carbon pollution and greenhouse gas emissions by leading to growth in the tar sands industry in Canada. Conor and his father were arrested together and driven to a police station in handcuffs. They then paid a fine and were free to go. Conor's efforts to make the world a better place continued in 2022, when he revealed that he had fought in Ukraine's International Legion. As he explained on Instagram, "Like many people, I was deeply moved by what I saw happening in Ukraine over the past year. I wanted to help. When I heard about Ukraine's International Legion, I knew I was going, and I went to the embassy to enlist the next day." While Conor didn't have any previous military experience when he enlisted, he believed that his physical strength and fearlessness would be significant assets. Born in 1984, Robert F. Bobby Kennedy III has generally stayed out of the limelight for most of his life. However, he did make headlines in 2018 when it was announced that he was set to marry former CIA spy Amaryllis Fox. A friend of the couple told Page 6, "They met in the desert through mutual friends 4 years ago. They share a commitment to social justice." Meanwhile, Bobby's father gushed to Town and Country about how he and everyone in the family adored Fox. In January 2019, Fox and Bobby welcomed their first child, a daughter also named Bobby. As the newborn's mom wrote on Instagram, "Baby Bobby arrived safe and snug on January 7th at 6:27 p.m. She's named for her father, grandfather, and great-grandfather, carrying their legacy into a future where women stand shoulder to shoulder with their fathers, brothers, and sons to do the work of love in the world. May she hold in her heart their fathomless commitment to human dignity, peace among nations, and protection of our natural world." In 2021, Fox gave birth to the couple's second child, a son named Cassius Watts Thoreau. As Fox noted on Instagram, he was named after boxing legend Muhammad Ali.
"I'm gonna show you how great I am."
Before he got married, Bobby Kennedy III wore a number of different hats, which included graduating from Brown University and working briefly in politics. He eventually pivoted to the arts, as he wrote and starred in a film that took place in Italy. He then tried his hand at writing a stage musical with a one-act comedy about rock jazz pianist Eric Lewis that debuted in 2011. Interestingly enough, the musical featured puppets, and as Bobby explained to HuffPost, it's a story about immortals, people that attain immortality through going through various universes and defeating your alternate selves. It's kind of hard to pin it down. Bobby also felt that this was the perfect time to explain why he had no interest in following his family's political footsteps. As he revealed, "People that, I feel at least, get into politics too early before they've had a chance to express themselves and kind of be free and do what they want to do end up being the most corrupt politicians. I don't really care for American politics, as they're currently playing out. Campaign finance is basically legalized bribery."
It's like thanks, but no thanks.
Aidan Queven Vieques Kennedy is definitely one of the more private members of his family. But we do know that he's the youngest child to Robert F. Kennedy Jr. and his late ex-wife, Mary Richardson. Aiden was born in 2001 while his father was incarcerated in Vieques Island, Puerto Rico for trespassing and protesting against bombing by the United States Navy. After Aiden was born, his mother told the Tampa Bay Times, "I think that when he is older, the child will understand why he has the name of Vieques and how important it is, and he'll be proud to be a part of that history." RFK Jr. reflected upon missing his son's birthday in an essay for Outside magazine. As he revealed, "My wife said she thought I was a hero, but if she could see me, she'd peg me as a slacker. She's the only real hero in this, having cared for our 5 children and produced our 6th in my absence." The younger of RFK Jr.'s 2 daughters, Kyra Kennedy, was born in 1995. After her mother, Mary Richardson, died in 2012, she was reportedly so overcome by grief that her father sent her off to live with the woman who would become her stepmother, Cheryl Hines. As a source divulged to Radar, Kyra took the news of her mother's death very, very hard. She started going off the rails a bit, and the family was concerned over what she would do, how it would all play out. The last thing the Kennedys wanted was another embarrassing scandal, so Robert decided the best move was to pack her off to live with Cheryl in LA, away from her friends and any bad influences. Despite this firm decision, Kyra continued to make controversial headlines in the years to come. For example, Page 6 reported in 2015 that after she was denied entry to a club in New York for being underage and using a fake ID, she lashed out at security by screaming, "I am a Kennedy. Google me. If you don't let me in, the governor will be calling." After that dust-up, Kyra and her friends took to Instagram to share photos of themselves partying. While Kyra Kennedy has enjoyed using social media to show off her partying lifestyle, she may have gone a little too far with it on one particular occasion. It all went down when Allie Jones of The Cut wrote a short blog post about Kyra and her friends in response to a 2016 New York Times article called "Move Over, Rat Pack and Brat Pack. Here comes the Snap Pack." Alas, Kyra was not exactly a fan of this coverage. In a since-deleted series of comments left on Jones's Instagram, Kyra wrote things like, "I can play games too," and clearly taking your insecurities out on others. Then Jones published another essay called "I'm Being Cyberbullied on Instagram by a Kennedy." When Kyra's father found what she was up to, he didn't take it lightly. As a rep for RFK Jr. told Page 6, "Mr. Kennedy has spoken to Kyra and informed his daughter that their family does not bully people. He has instructed her to shut down all of her social media accounts immediately." Kyra was ultimately banned for more than 3 years before she was finally allowed to begin posting again in 2019. She started off with some simple family photos and selfies, but by 2023, she was posting about how she was attending events for big-name designers like Louis Vuitton and Giorgio Armani. Born in 1988, Kathleen "Kick" Alexandra Kennedy is the older of Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s 2 daughters. She graduated from Stanford with a degree in history and pursued theater after college. She shares her father's passion for activism, particularly when it comes to clean water. In 2010, she hiked Mount Kilimanjaro with fellow activists Emil Hirsch and Jessica Biel in an effort to bring awareness to water shortage. As she told Town & Country in 2012, "I like to say life is just a collection of experiences, some good, some bad, and the more you have, the better. Saying yes has just kind of worked for me so far." In addition to her activism, Kick has a deep passion for acting, as she's appeared on TV shows like The Newsroom and Curb Your Enthusiasm.
It's not fair.
It's not a chat and cut.
Kick also worked alongside her brother Bobby for his 2021 film Fear and Loathing in Aspen. While fame often comes with acting, that's not what Kick is after. As she told Town & Country, "I see all my actor friends really going for it in that way because it's such a big part of the job. But it kind of turns me off. I'm frightened of it, or at least uninterested, unamused." In April 2018, Kick Kennedy's boyfriend, billionaire banking heir Matthew Mellon, died of a heart attack before he was set to check into a rehab facility in Cancun, Mexico. Kick and Mellon had been dating for about 4 months at the time of his passing. Her manager, Christine Schott, told People magazine, "She is heartbroken, shocked. She didn't see this coming. She is devastated and will not be making comment." Schott also revealed he was sober and they were enjoying life. Then all of a sudden, he apparently fell off the wagon. In the wake of Mellon's death, Kick shared a tribute to him on Instagram. Alongside a black and white video of the two of them dancing and smiling, she wrote, "Most who knew Matthew knew he had an incredible way of manifesting wildly unpredictable miracles that shocked and awed us all, over and over again. Simply, he was magical." She also made sure to note that he loved his 3 children. As she wrote, "They will inherit his charm, his wisdom, and a spectacularly bizarre wardrobe." William Finbar Finn Kennedy is another one of RFK Jr.'s kids who generally steers clear of the public eye. His middle name comes from Saint Finbar, a 6th century bishop and abbot of a monastery in County Wexford, Ireland, the ancestral homestead of the Kennedys. What we know about Finn mainly comes from his accomplishments listed on his since-deleted LinkedIn account. He received his bachelor's degree with high honors from Brown University, where he studied history. In 2017, he completed an internship at Morgan Stanley and then went on to complete an apprenticeship in 2018 at lending company Bailey Capital, where he was later hired as an analyst. And that's about all the publicly available information about Finn. While he's rarely photographed out and about, he does sometimes pop up on his siblings' Instagrams.